You have made it through the entire store. Your cart is full, your list is finished, and the exit is in sight. But between you and the door stands one final stretch, and it was designed for exactly this moment. Look at the checkout lane. Chocolate bars, chewing gum, mints, and candy stacked in neat rows on both sides, close enough to touch. None of it is on your list. All of it is within reach of your idle hands. It might look like leftover space, filled with whatever was lying around. It is not. Retailers call this the front end, and every inch of it has been measured, tested, and sold. The final few feet of a store are built for weak moments. This trick is older than you might think. In the early 20th century, shopkeepers began stacking penny candy and chewing gum beside their cash registers, and noticed something remarkable. Customers who never asked for gum bought it anyway, simply because it sat there. Chewing gum companies became masters of this game. They pushed to place their little packs beside every register they could reach, and it worked so well that gum turned into one of the most reliably profitable products a store could carry. What those shopkeepers discovered has a name today. Psychologists call it impulse buying, a purchase you never planned, triggered by the sight of a product at exactly the right moment. And the checkout line is the most carefully engineered impulse trap ever built. Studies of shopper behavior suggest that a surprisingly large share of everything we buy is unplanned. Some estimates say that more than half of all purchase decisions are made inside the store, not before we walk in. So why is the checkout so powerful? First, it is the one place you cannot avoid. You can skip the cookie aisle entirely, but every single shopper, on every single trip, must pass through the checkout to leave. Second, you are stuck there. The average checkout wait lasts several minutes, and unlike anywhere else in the store, you cannot simply walk away. You stand still, you inch forward, and you wait. Waiting does something predictable to your brain. Boredom sets in within seconds, and your eyes start searching for something, anything, to look at. The candy rack is not just nearby, it is the entertainment. Third, everything at the checkout is cheap. A pack of gum or a chocolate bar costs $1 or $2. Your brain barely registers it as spending at all, especially next to a cart full of groceries. Researchers call this low friction. A big purchase triggers careful thought, comparison, and hesitation. A tiny one slips underneath that alarm system entirely. It is only $1, you tell yourself, and the bar drops quietly into the cart. Then comes the deepest reason of all. By the time you reach the checkout, you have already made hundreds of small decisions. Which brand? Which size? Which price? Psychologists call the result decision fatigue. Some researchers describe willpower like a muscle that tires with use. After navigating a store full of choices, your ability to say no is at its weakest, right at the exact moment the candy appears. And if you are shopping hungry, it gets worse. Studies show that hungry shoppers buy more food, and more indulgent food, than shoppers who ate beforehand. The checkout candy is aimed straight at that empty stomach. Now look down at the lower racks. That placement is not an accident either. Candy often sits at a small child's eye level, right where little hands can reach it during a long, boring wait. The industry even has a name for what happens next. They call it pester power. A tired parent, a pleading child, a $2 bribe for a peaceful ride home. Retailers understood that math a very long time ago. Here is the part most shoppers never see. Brands do not just happen to end up beside the register. In many stores they pay for the privilege, through placement fees and trade deals, because everyone knows exactly what that spot is worth. Measured by sales for every square foot, the checkout area is often described as some of the most productive space in the entire store. A few feet of little racks can outsell whole aisles. It helps that candy and gum carry healthy profit margins. A store often earns more, proportionally, on your impulse chocolate bar than it does on many of the sensible staples buried in your cart. Gum is almost the perfect checkout product. It is tiny. It lasts nearly forever on a shelf. It needs no explanation, and nobody ever writes chewing gum on a shopping list. If gum gets bought at all, it gets bought on impulse. The same logic explains the rest of the rack. Batteries, lip balm, tissues, magazines, and cold drinks. Small, cheap, useful things you forgot you needed, or never needed at all, each one chosen carefully for that final stretch. There is also a softer psychology at work. Shopping is a chore, and the checkout marks the finish line. A small treat feels like a fair reward for getting through it. Retailers simply put the trophy within arm's reach. Psychologists call one version of this licensing. If you spent the whole trip choosing sensible vegetables and bargain brands, your brain feels it has earned a little indulgence. The candy rack is always happy to oblige. Look at the shape of the space itself. Many checkout lanes are narrow corridors with products rising on both sides, a canyon of temptation you must walk through single file, cart first, eyes level with the shelves. None of this is guesswork. Modern retailers run experiments constantly, moving products, changing displays, and comparing the sales data. If the gum sells better on the left side at elbow height, the gum moves. Researchers have even used eye-tracking cameras to study shoppers standing in line, mapping exactly where our gaze lands while we wait. The racks are arranged to sit squarely inside those hot zones. But shoppers, especially parents, eventually pushed back. Complaints about candy-filled checkouts grew loud enough that some chains began experimenting with candy-free lanes, stocked with healthier snacks or with nothing at all. In some countries, the pressure went even further. Health campaigners and governments leaned on supermarkets to clean up their checkouts, and several major chains publicly pledged to remove sweets from the register entirely. Then technology started chipping away at the trick. Self-checkout kiosks shortened the wait and rearranged the space, leaving less room and less time for the classic towering wall of candy. And the biggest disruption fits in your pocket. Smartphones ended checkout boredom. Instead of scanning the candy rack, waiting shoppers now scroll, message, and watch, their eyes locked on a screen instead of the shelves. The results showed up in the numbers. In the years after smartphones went mainstream, chewing gum sales in the United States fell sharply, dropping by double-digit percentages. The little rack had lost its captive audience. Retailers are fighting back the only way they can, by following your attention. Store apps now ping you with offers while you shop, and digital screens at the register try to win back your wandering eyes. Online shopping rebuilt the same trap in code. Before you can pay, the website shows you what other customers also bought, small cheap add-ons one click away from your basket. It is the checkout candy rack, translated into pixels. Food delivery apps ask if you want to add a drink or a dessert. Airlines offer upgrades at the final step. The last few feet before payment, it turns out, are valuable in every kind of store. Strip it all away, and the checkout rack is really a mirror. It works because human attention drifts, willpower tires, and small pleasures are hard to refuse. The store did not create those weaknesses, it simply mapped them. The defenses are refreshingly simple. Shop from a written list, and never shop hungry. Both cut impulse purchases significantly, because they arm your tired brain with a plan it can lean on. And in the line itself, try one small trick. When your hand drifts toward the rack, ask whether you wanted that item 10 seconds ago. If the answer is no, then the store wanted it for you. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The store is not a neutral warehouse of goods. It is an engineered landscape, and the checkout is its final, carefully sharpened edge, hiding in plain sight. So the next time you are stuck in line, surrounded by gum and candy, enjoy the view. You are standing inside a 100-year-old experiment. And if you like uncovering designs like this one, join us on the next Plain Sight Orbit.